Hey guys, it's Miss Libby from Mill Creek. I hope you are all doing well and hanging in there with your e-learning. Some of you are on spring break this week, which is such a nice break from all the learning we've had to do. We are so proud of you for the hard work and the perseverance that you're showing during this really strange time. And we just want you to know that at Chapel Street Church, we miss you so much and cannot wait to see you. So I thought to do something just a little bit different. I might take you on a nature walk every once in a while and show you my horse farm. We've got lots of animals that I would love to introduce you to, and I think that sometimes we are so busy in our lives that we miss lots of cool things that God is doing out in nature. So to start, I wanted to show you something really neat that we discovered in our tree yesterday. So I wanted to show you one of the really cool things that we just found because we stopped and paused and were looking around at what God had done in nature all around us. We weren't so busy and on the go all the time. So this we found in a tree yesterday, and it's really quite amazing. We think it is a hornet's nest. It's definitely some kind of wasp or hornet's nest. It is completely empty, friends. We would never ever have touched it if there were any creatures inside. So we made double check. We were super safe and made sure, so don't ever touch anything like this. But look at it. It looks like it's something like out of Winnie the Pooh or some kind of movie, but it is so neat. And when you touch it, I wish you were here with me and you could touch this. It feels like paper, which is so cool. It feels just like a really light, almost like tissue paper. Now we learned and we looked it up that this kind of thing, this kind of nest is made out of something kind of yucky. It's made out of wasp spit. Blah. I am sure glad that we don't have to use our spit to make our homes. But anyway, it is really quite beautiful and really cool. And we don't know how long it's been up there. It's been up there a long time. And maybe we've just been so busy that we haven't stopped to notice it. But it was just such a cool discovery, and one way that God is revealing himself in nature during this time at our house. Okay, in just a minute, I'm going to take you into the barn. Here's my little guy, Viking. He is very curious about it too. He also just wants me to pick him up and love him because he's super affectionate. Hi, Viking. Say hi to all the Chapel Street kids. All right, next, we're going to go in the barn, and I'm going to introduce you to our new pony, Applejacks. See, he just wants lots of love. All right, so now we are at the barn. This is Annie, my beautiful daughter, and this is Duzzy, who is trying to get so many kisses from me. And then this is, he wants to be the star of the show. And this is Applejacks, our new pony. So Annie, obviously Applejacks is a little bit smaller than a full-size horse. So tell me why that is.
So Applejacks is a pony, and a pony actually isn't a baby horse. So you can see Desi over here is a horse, and Applejacks is a pony. And ponies are a type of horse, but they don't grow as tall as a normal horse would. So think of it as like a Great Dane dog and a Chihuahua.
Okay.
And so it's like a different type of horse.
All right, so I was thinking the other day, Applejacks is a pony, and the smallest one that we have in our barn. And I was thinking that Holy Week is coming up next week, and Holy Week is the beginning of when we begin to celebrate Easter and everything that happened when Jesus made his journey to Jerusalem and then his journey to the cross. And so we learn on the first day of Holy Week is Palm Sunday. That's when we begin to celebrate our Holy Week. And Palm Sunday is when Jesus rode into the big city of Jerusalem. And it was the first time he publicly proclaimed that he was king. And so as Christians, Jesus is king of our lives, and we proclaim that every single day. So this is in Jesus's life a really big day that we recognize was significant in the triumphant entry of the king. He's saying, I am the Messiah you've been waiting for. Well, the Bible tells us, and I just did a little research as I read about Palm Sunday, and it's coming, is that Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey colt. Now, a colt is it was a donkey that was about a year old. And there was something else that I noticed in my reading of the Bible and the Palm Sunday reading that I had not noticed before, and it said that Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a colt that had never been sat on. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Annie is training Applejacks right now. She is training him to become a good horse. He has not really been ridden or sat on much. So Annie, what would Applejacks do if, or any kind of horse that hadn't been sat on? What would they act like?
Well, they're not used to it, so they get kind of scared and nervous, and they want to get you off their back. So they'll either buck or rear, which means they'll like jump up and down, and then they'll try to run away.
Okay, so this was kind of amazing. Jesus chose to ride into Jerusalem on a colt that had never even been sat on. But then Jesus rode him into Jerusalem, and it was almost like a parade. People were there and laid their coats down in front of him and palm branches in front of him, declaring that he was the king. So there was all this crowdedness. It was almost like what we would consider a parade. Now, what do you think Applejacks, if he hadn't been ridden on before or even sat on before, and then had someone sitting on him, and then took him to a parade, what do you think that would be like?
He would probably freak out. He'd probably start running around, and he'd be really scared. Actually, any of these guys would be really scared, and they're really well trained too.
Yeah. Which is, so I just wonder, this isn't in the Bible. It doesn't tell us what that little donkey was thinking or anything, but you just have to really wonder that maybe that donkey knew that he was carrying the Messiah. He must have known, and Jesus must have somehow just communicated with him that he knew he had a very special job. He was absolutely calm, and he was able to ride through a crowd, and he had never even been sat on before. So I just think sometimes it's interesting to look at Bible stories and try to picture what they were really like. So anyway, there's just a little lesson from the farm today. We hope that you guys have a good week, and I'll check back in with you next time and bring you an update. I'm thinking maybe next week we'll take a look at our pet raccoon.
Oh.
All right, guys. See you. Bye.